Okay, we're just going to go over the questions real quick and answer them. The first question was, with regard to the key elements of the business model, what should CloudFlare keep and start doing with respect to CVP, GTM, TUM, and CFF? So for CVP, the cost volume profit, some of the key elements of things that they need to do is, or some of the key elements of things that they are doing, I guess, is easy to use and inexpensive. They need to increase the load. They increase their load time. They need to keep doing this, but they also need to start making more goals. The organizational implications, this is what will keep them in the market. For the GTM, go-to-market, they take the product to potential customers. So they need to start doing this, and they need to be more specific with their target market. And the organizational implication is it shouldn't be that hard to get new customers. And then when they do, it'll be better for their company. TUM, target operating model, offer an affordable firewall service that can be used by all. This is something that they do, and they need to keep doing this. But they need to try to improve it, and they need to make sure that they're charging people, that they're getting more clients that will pay, and they need to build up their subscribers. This will ensure the future of the company. And then for the CCF, cash flow financing, their revenue is at 4.8 million. The amount that they're paying for traffic monitoring is at 2.6 million. Their employee costs are at 5.25 million, and their deficit right now is at 3.05 million. So they need to drastically improve in this area so that they can actually keep in business. And if they don't make any changes, then they will end up going under. So then for number 4, working as a group, take a closer look at CloudFlare's cash flow formula. Suppose we have to hire more engineers in direct proportion to how we scale. How long will it take to become profitable? Use an actual spreadsheet and turn it in after the discussion. Okay, so like I said, right now their revenue is at $4,800,000. This is with only 4% of their 500,000 users paying, and they're only paying $20 a month for 12 months. So right now they're also paying 2.6 million, which breaks down for their 500,000 users. It breaks down to $5.20 per user, and they do this to get the fill of the traffic that they're getting. And then they're paying their employees approximately $150,000 a year. With 35 employees, that brings it to $5,250,000. And that's with 35 employees. Their current estimate then is they are in this equals a deficit of $3,050,000 for the company. So they need to make some changes here. So what I've done, like some of the changes that I made with this formula, is I raised the amount of subscribers, which shouldn't be too hard. I raised it from 4% to 7.5%. That's only 3.5% more. That's not even double of users who will pay. I raised the amount to $25 a month. And I think that just raising it $5 a month will make a big, huge difference. And then I suggested that they try really hard to add 150,000 subscribers. This will bring it up to 650,000. So if by adding that many subscribers, that will make it so that they don't have to employ a whole bunch more new people. But I did suggest that they hire 45 more new people. Their traffic volume, with the 650,000 new subscribers at 5.2 per user, it brings it to 3,380,000. So by the way, the revenue is now going to be 14,625 with the changes that I made. So adding 45 employees, or adding 10 employees to a total of 45 employees, with a cost of $150,000 per employee. This will raise their employee cost to $6,750,000. But this also brings up their revenue because of the changes that we made to $4,495,000 for the company. So with the 10 new hires, they need to make sure that they are hiring. They need to make sure that they are hiring an actual HR manager and some people to make up a sales team. And that only needs to be like 2 people, 2, maybe 3 people at the most. Along with the few more engineers that they need to hire, they might want to consider hiring some technical support to alleviate some of the pressure on the engineers. With these new goals and added employees in place, CloudFlare should be able to go from a $3,050,000 deficit to a revenue of nearly $4.5 million in less than a year. All right. Number 5, why does CloudFlare management want to get big fast? Well, bringing in more customers brings in more money. So they're going to want to get big so that they can make more money. What benefit does CloudFlare receive from scale? So with having more customers, their costs will go down and they will obviously bring in more money. The more subscribers, the more they will bring in actual revenue. So that's how it'll affect their economies of scale. Does CloudFlare have network effects? The value of service increases with the amount of customers. With more customers, the better their product gets. Their software gets smarter, and their software gets smarter. Does CloudFlare have high switching costs? Well, it doesn't seem like they do, because it doesn't sound like they don't have any equipment necessarily that's involved, and there are minimal costs, no sign-up fee. So unless a customer is actually dropping a contract that they made, there will be minimal switching costs. What are the reasons might CloudFlare management have for wanting to get big fast? The bigger they get, the more money they will earn, and again, their product will get better and smarter. What reasons might you suggest for not growing so fast? Well, the biggest reason is currently they're having a hard time supporting the amount of growth that they already have. This is one of the reasons that Dell Kiefling left the company. He was working way too much and he was completely overwhelmed. He kept asking him to hire a new person, and the other guy was being too picky about who he would hire. So when Dell left, I'm sure that left him in a pretty bad situation. They need to make sure that their bases are covered before they try to continue growing. Otherwise, it will end badly for them. So discuss each of the recent resignations for each one. List the reasons why they left, and then ask what would have to change for the person to have stayed. So is it worth it to make those changes to keep the people who left? So the first guy, Dell, like we said, he left because he was overwhelmed. The second guy, David, he left because I think that he just felt like he wasn't making a difference, and he didn't feel like his voice was being heard. So I really just think he wasn't happy there. That is where they need to improve, and I said they feel that a few changes are definitely worth it. If they want to grow, they need to hire more people so that the employees that they have are not overworked. And they need more organizational structure so that the employees have someone to go to. What will happen to the other employees who work there if your changes are implemented? I can't imagine that any of the employees will have a problem with more workers or with having more structure. I would hope that they could see that this would only bring about good things for the company, and that they would see that right now the company is having a hard time supporting the growth that they have already made. Why do people work at CloudFlare? What keeps them motivated? Did they join the company so that they could be told what to do, have process and structure, or to change the internet? So I feel like this is kind of a silly question. I mean, who really knows why people ever do anything? Maybe they are drawn in by the opportunity. Maybe they love bringing new things to life. I would think that the opportunity is challenging, and the challenge would keep them motivated to a degree. But I also think that with the way that the structure of the company is, that in some ways they would be discouraged. I don't think anybody joins a company ever to be told what to do. I can't imagine. I don't know anybody that would ever do that. So they would most likely like structure, but they don't like being constantly told what to do. So that's my answer there. Number 7, group decision. Should CloudFlare implement more process and structure, hire a VP or HR, and start using titles? So through emails and text messages, we discussed this a little bit, and we don't feel like they need to hire a VP, but using titles and structure would be a good idea because it would, give them more structure. One of the things that we talked about is, like, what if a person who is going to be moving over to another job, they end up applying for another job. What are they going to put on their resume? I worked at CloudFlare. Well, what was your title there? I don't know. I was a support staff. There's no titles, so that wouldn't be anything that they could say, well, I work at CloudFlare and this is my title. So I do think that they need to have titles in place. We think that they need to hire an HR manager for sure. I think that there needs to be somebody that the people can go to when they have an issue. They shouldn't have to go to the co-founders for stuff like that. And also the HR manager should have just as much power almost as the co-founders, because it kind of sounds like to me that the co-founders are good people, but nobody else really has much of a say of what's going to happen except for the co-founders. They do need to have more structure. They need to put an action plan in place, and they may need to make some goals. Do they need to slow down growth? Yes or no? I do think that they need to slow down growth enough to catch up with it, because they need to be able to support the growth that they already have. Discuss what will happen to the company under your recommendations, what will happen to the culture and motivation of the current employees, what will happen to the cost structure and therefore profitability of the company. So we feel that the company will be better off for making the changes that have been suggested. They should be able to increase their profitability if they do these things, but they definitely need to hire more people so that they will not continue losing employees. People should not be overworked. When they do, it is a hindrance to the company. So yeah, if they make a few changes, I think that they could be very successful, and obviously they are, because I looked them up online and there's a lot about them. So anyway, that's it.